I'm delighted to have Vijay Gi with us today, who is coming from Silicon Valley on a very interesting Padayatra. This is a 9,000 kilometer journey that he has embarked on.
And at 2 a.m. on 5th of May, started walking from there.
2,000 kilometers that you've covered so far. How many Jyotirlingas? You've 4. You've been to 4 now.
Go to Omkareshwar, from there to Somnath, Somnath to Nagnath near Dwarka. And now I'm on my way to Kedarnath. So these 12 Jyotirling temples are high energy source.
The article about you mentions, the news article mentions that you were also disillusioned with what was happening in Silicon Valley.
These people are intellectually very superior. I mean, they have excelled somewhere. But you know what I found? They were the most close-minded people.
While you are on the Padayatra, challenges that you've encountered.
6 p.m. I'm passing through this forest. Dead silence. There was a noise of birds and animals. It was a board hyenas. Small villages out here. I am walking through these small lanes. People are they're looking at me. What is this?
I'm delighted to have Vijay Gi with us today, who is coming from Silicon Valley on a very interesting Padayatra across the length and breadth of the country to discover our Jyotirlingas. This is a 9,000 kilometer journey that he has embarked on. Let's hear from Vijay Gi. Vijay Gi, thank you so much, and it's so inspiring to see your, the initiative that you've taken to travel across Bharat, discover Bharat, and particularly our Jyotirlingas. So what sparked, this initiative? Why did you get into this, and why did you leave Silicon Valley to travel so much?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time because it was a short notice, I remember. And I wasn't so sure what my plan would be while walking through Sonipat. And you organized this conversation as well as the following one. That's absolutely great. So I really greatly appreciate it. I'm grateful to you for that. Now to your question. Let's go back to history a little bit. I come from Madhya Pradesh, heart, right? And I was educated in my high school in a Hindi medium school that everybody else also went to, right? Who couldn't afford to go to public school or, more expensive schools.
Where in MP was this?
Multiple places. My father was in central government job, so he was transferred number of places, but mostly around Indore, Ujjain. Ujjain is where I started.
Okay.
Transition from my infancy to childhood happened in Ujjain. So my first memory is of Mahakaleshwar, Ujjain. So that's one clue to you. Okay. But from there, yes, Khandwa, Indore, Devas, all these areas in Jabalpur, mostly MP. So what happened is in the 7th grade, there was a lesson in my book, Adi Shankaracharya. And it talked about this. So it talked about his travel. And at that time, you know what I thought? That it was so big for a 7th grader. This was such a big effort that I truly believed that they are not talking about a human being. It's a Lord Shiva walking, actually. That's what I thought, honestly. And for a long time it happened, but the thought remained same. But then it obviously I understood that this was not, there is a real person. And he was doing it at the age of 16. He had come to Omkareshwar, by the way, from Keladi in Kerala.
Yep.
And he stayed there for 4 years. That was fascinating. That fascination. Then when I grew up a little bit, I come from a very, the family which is culturally very deeply ingrained into our traditions and our processes, right? So we used to have pujas and everything every day. So there is a lot of knowledge around the thing that comes by hearing, right? And eventually when I grew up a little bit about Advaita and understood a little bit of the philosophy, I was astonished because this person had gone around the country at the very, very difficult time, and he achieved intellectual integration of the whole nation, right? So this bug was with me that I want to do something like this, not just physical aspect of it, but something about the objective also. There has to be some kind of intellectual connection to it. 20 years I slept with it. 20 years. Finally, even my wife was sick of my hearing from me that I want to do this thing. And finally, 2022, I was here attending some wedding. And by the way, it was the month of May. You know how May is?
Very hot.
I went to Ujjain. Every time I come here, I generally go to Ujjain. Most of the time, not every time, 99% of the times. So I went there to the temple and I said that I'm going to start it. There was no preparation, by the way. So I just thought that I want to go to from here to Omkareshwar, at least the first one I want to do. And at 2 a.m. on 5th of May, I started. Why 2 a.m.? Because it's going to be very hot in the day. 2 a.m. I started walking from there. And yes, I did go to Omkareshwar. And then from there to Somnath to Nagnath near Dwarka. And now I'm on my way to Kedarnath. So the inspiration was Adi Shankaracharya. For me, it is a lot of spiritual connection to it because of my upbringing, because of my connection with our ancient times, and finally, the desire to see that people also learn about it. And one factor that was a catalyst to it was that I've lived for 40 years in America, and I hear most of them are very educated people, and what I hear from them is zero about Indian culture. Some of them know superficially, and our culture and our religion is our faith is such that even if the person knows nothing about it, is under no discipline of following it, he or she can follow it socially. So the person will have a Diwali at least, or the so like but yeah, life it becomes life. But then I was really astonished that people didn't know, and many times, particularly currently, the negativism has taken root. People are talking more about things that they have imagined or somebody has told them, which has no connection with the faith, and that brought me out for this struggle that I want to do this thing.
The article about you mentions, the news article mentions that you were also disillusioned with what was happening in Silicon Valley. You've been there for a long time. So what was the disillusionment?
Exactly, that's what I voiced just now, that these people are intellectually very superior. I mean, they have excelled somewhere, right? And despite that, when it comes to when somebody is very highly educated and knowledgeable, what is the first thing you understand? You understand that this person, first of all, has a capability, intellectual capability to absorb knowledge. And then second one is his mind is open. That is how the knowledge is coming in. Correct. But you know what I found? They were the most close-minded people. Okay. They had only one port open, which was only that was profession. Yeah, profession. Rest gone. And many of them, many of them, their previous generation, they're from their families. They were not getting this introduction to their own history and culture for various reasons, right? Because you know what happened after the whole country, the way the philosophy and the whole the politics of it and everything. They didn't know anything, and they were switching now to the side of being negative about it, critical about it. That is what was very, it was not happy. You work, you do so great thing, and then you find that there's so much of ignorance in the ocean of knowledge. Amazing.
Yeah. So you said that, one fine morning you just decided, at 2 a.m. that now let me start walking. But 9,000 kilometers is, a humongous distance. It never occurred to you that you need to prepare for something?
Okay. So, because I said 20 years, I slept with the idea. So, planning was going on. Mind was working on the route. All right. So, I was looking at Google. The map was there in my mind that how is it going to happen? I'd been checking with people also that, hey, athletes, high quality athletes, what kind of shoes they wear? Okay. What are my deficiencies? All this was there, but exact plan wasn't there. When to start. By the way, every year I used to think I'll do this year, but it was postponing for some reason, some or the other reason. So eventually it occurred to me that this is not going to happen at all. It is here that it is not happening. I'm ready to go, but this is not letting it. So you have to break it, brute force it. Yeah.
Can you share some of the experiences while you are on the Padayatra, the challenges that you've encountered, people you've met?
Yes. This is, I keep telling people few things I tell them. Maybe I go to this visit schools in the villages, middle schools, elementary schools, and I talk to children also. And from there to the universities, I say that your limitations are all here. Body doesn't have that limitation. You can always stop. So my first challenge that happened was physical. I not experienced this kind of pain ever. Simple. So this, you have to learn to figure it out, how to go about it. But then the thought that you will not quit was there. That's it. So if I had to get up and walk, I would walk. Challenge was a first walk. I took the worst of the challenge is that when my friends and everybody over here were saying that we don't go out of the house after 9 o'clock because it's too warm or too hot, all right. And I was doing that right in May, walking for the whole day. So I was trying to figure out when to start and when to stop. So I would start at 2 a.m. and walk up to, say, 2 p.m. or this thing. A few days I started at 4 p.m. and walked all the way up to 2 a.m. Yeah.
And how are you taking care of your sleep? What are you eating? Where do you find the
Was. So eating and all that was never a thing because I did not care about it, didn't think about it. Whatever was available, some snacks whole day while walking, no eating, and one meal. That's it. One meal a day. That's it. While the rest of the time, I'm keeping track of my energy. You need to energize. So I was taking snacks a little bit here and there and surviving mostly on milk. And milk is the one thing that you get everywhere, right? So it is a good protein source. And because you're walking, other problems were there. I was walking from Ujjain to Omkareshwar. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I don't know.
You don't, right? But you get out of Ujjain, and this Ujjain to Indore is about 30 kilometers, right? There is a place called Saver in between. It's a village, right, on the highway itself. When I was 4 years old, my father, who used to go into interior for his job, he was in the central excise and he has to go to tobacco estimation. Tobacco came under excise duty. So he would always come across tigers crossing the way or somewhere.
Okay.
The tiger sighting all the time. This was infested. That even up to my higher secondary, that area was full of tigers, by the way. And from childhood, I've heard this. And I was walking through that place at 4 a.m. to a.m. I did that. And everything was fine. And I didn't have a fear either, but I was thinking about that. But then beyond Indore, you come down in the valley. It's a thick forest. And a lot of leopards and other animals are there. And for the first time, I was always, I had a car that had my supplies and the things, everything you have to have because you don't know if you will get a place to stay or not overnight. So I carried everything with me, a mug and a bucket and the heater and the stove and everything I carried. Like that. So, but I was not having car with me. I used to let the car go up next stop and the guy will wait there and I'll just walk. But, for the first time, I felt a dread, what is called dread. At 6 p.m., I'm passing through this forest. Dead silence. There was a noise of birds and animals and dead silence suddenly. And there was a rivulet there. And at the time of dusk, forest, warm, hot, summer day, right? And having a rivulet, what does it all come together? How does it come together? That's a place the animals come to. Right? And I felt the dread. My goodness, I pulled out the phone and called my driver, and he finally fortunately the signal worked, and they came rushing. But I felt that. So I asked him to drive behind me with the headlights on.
Okay.
Now I didn't walk in. Since then, I haven't, and it paid me very well because in Gujarat, I was stopped by hyena. Oh. Yeah. So the driver saw it. I didn't see it. I was hearing the noise. It was again a dead night. And he saw that two pairs of eyes, small, and they were, and there was a board. By the way, there was a board, hyenas. It was a protection. The forest department said that animals cross the street. So there were those. But you asked about the people also. Yeah, people, amazing amount of love and affection. They would invite me to their homes. They were one just simple blessing. And they would want me to have tea or, even in Kutch, when I walked through Kutch. And there are people who, small hamlets there, or not even hamlets, 2 or 3 huts who are doing the salt farming. And these people were so much wanting that nobody used to walk through that. People drive away through that. So they wanted me to come to their houses and stay. Wow. A lot of love and affection. Yes.
So we see, a renewed interest in society at large to discover what Bharat is.
Yeah.
How has this Padayatra, helped you in deepening your understanding of Bharat?
This urban living had over so many years and then being outside the country had created such a thing in my mind that the rural India that I had known a little bit since until my 30 years of age I stayed in the country was gone. Okay. We were always going fast through the, and most of us do that, right? We are not connected with that. When I went through that and I find people truly, you can feel, you can understand whether somebody is faking or not, right? Truly respecting you for what you're doing. That tells you that the roots are there.
Yes.
And I'll give you one example that happened just 2 days back. When I walk through the villages, and this Google walk takes me to narrow lanes like this size. Okay, I go through that. And what was that? Loktak, something, God, that name, village. There were 20 kids going to school this size. Okay, little kids. Would you believe that many of them say, Ram Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Dodar King, and then one little kid says Jai Hind, very warmly. They're saying this kids, little kids.
Yeah.
Culturally, they are so much closer than what we urbanized were discussing. I don't know what we are discussing, duet probably, as opposed to adduet, right?
But these guys are that.
Yeah.
And where are you now in your journey out of 9,000 kilometers?
So I have done over 2,000. Wow. Yeah, over 2,000 I've done.
And what's the plan? Do you have a timeline in mind, or you take it as it comes?
No, I have a very fixed schedule. Twice a year, I come over. I walk for 15 days each time, 15 to 17 days each time. Every day I try to walk, and I've succeeded so far, 40 kilometers average
Every day.
per day. Wow. Yeah, 40 kilometers. So close to 600 kilometers I cover. And it is in February, March time frame, first one. Second one, October, November. These are the 2 times I come. That May was the only first one. After that, I came to October and it's stuck to that. Yeah, I never did.
That's I think the best time of the year.
Yeah.
So we do a program here called the 100-kilometer walk. It's part of one of the rituals at Rishihood. So we do 100-kilometer over 2 days.
Yeah.
50-kilometer each day.
Yeah.
But when we finish the first day, it's a nightmare to do the next day. And how are you continuing for 15 days? It's
I was not, when I did that Ujjain to Omkareshwar thing, the next day I was not able to stand up. Getting out of the bed, standing up was hard. But I had to hold on to something to stand, and then I walk 40 kilometers after that. Yes, so you have to, as I said, limitations is here.
Mind.
It's a mind. Yeah.
Can you explain to our audience what are Jyotirlingas? So they're powerful, at the distance of Viva.
Absolutely. I need to in that part very first one. I'm a student of physics, technology. I have multiple engineering degrees, okay? And my favorite subject was quantum physics, right? Although engineering, I don't practice that, but that is privately, I do that. And as I kept studying more and more, somehow in my mind, I have formed a synthesis, okay? Which is also, Advaita also gets me into that. I connect with that. But coming back to what is Shiva, to me, Shiva is closest is supernova. That, by the way, all the Devi Devatas that we have, they are personification of some energy forms. So if you were to take the energy that came out of that Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago and somehow managed to apply Laplace transform to it, okay? Somehow managed to segment it into different energy groups. There were multiple devatas will come out. So look at Lord Shiva. You say, it's a destroyer of immense power. With immense power, you can destroy galaxies. And at the same time, you say that it is also seeds life. Correct? How does that? What does that? Supernova does that actually. Okay. Right? Supernova does that. So what is our connection to that? Why are we worshipping this energy form? But through Puran, we convert all this abstract knowledge, which is Vedic Upanishad knowledge, into the easily understandable stories. So there has to be a form given. We have limited senses. Our 5 senses are very limited. So it is very hard to get that thought into a farmer's mind, suppose, who has not learned physics, right? So how do you want to explain Shiva? It's a very good idea to explain that thing by some personification and then create stories around that. That's my understanding of it, right? And then there's so much deep thought behind. I mean, when you come down to all the six streams of understanding of the Vedas, then every one I'm able to kind of think about that, how that connects with this basic concept of energy. So all over the Shiva for me is that energy source. That is the buckets.
And the initial spark, that got you into this was in your school days. When you were in 7th grade, you read about Adi Shankaracharya. So
Yes.
what is his relation with the Jyotirlingas?
Okay, so I still did not talk about Jyotirling. What is absolutely Shiva? I explained, but not Jyotirling. But I'll come back to that, and let me answer this question first. So he was a Shiva, but he was born after it is said that his parents got the Ashirvad or Vardhan from Shiva in his dream, in his mother's dream or father's dream, that it was, they had a dream that said that, hey, this child born, Shiva has given you this child. So there was that connection. And at that time, the Shaivite and the Vaishnavites and Dvaita, and this thing was actually, those things were coming up actually. So Shankaracharya's connection is to Shiva, and that is how we connected to Advaita also eventually. But coming back to Jyotirling thing, so there are these 12 temples in the country, and I'm not going to say the name, but believe me, when I walk and I go and speak to students in schools, small schools, that was one school in Amreli in Gujarat, and I asked these kids, small kids, 12 Jyotirling. And my God, they were able to tell me at least 6, 7. They knew about that. So these are the 12 temples, Shiva temples. But why are they more popular? So every temple is an energy source, by the way, to me. I know we all feel energized by the one way or the other, you feel energized. You go there with something, and then you feel that you got something back. It is a feeling thing. But if you come down to my physics level understanding, I believe that it actually does energizes. When we are energy forms. After all, we got that E is equal to MC squared is right there actually. We are also from our wave function may have a very high frequency because we are so big, but we also have that duality. We are also energy, we also function like that. So we are somehow trying to connect with different energy sources. So there is a communication problem. We have not understood. Our knowledge of physics is very primitive. I fully believe that our knowledge of physics is extremely primitive. It's constantly evolving also. It will take time to evolve. So that is why this is something that I feel that there is a connection of the energy level connection. You are connecting to these. So these 12 Jyotirling temples are high energy source. And if you just take it very simply, then I would say that they probably have the under rock or something, or the Shivaling itself or the rock itself has higher gravitational power or the force, it exerts higher gravitational force than the remaining strata. There is something over there, that kind of thing. And that is a physicist to speak.
So if in the 2,000 kilometers that you've covered so far, how many Jyotirlingas you've
4.
You've been to 4 now?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you have seen very, very different worlds, when you're walking different parts of the country and when you're going back to the US. What has been now your perspective on needs versus wants and what really matters in life?
Very good question, actually. Very deep question. I mean, you cannot just, you can talk continuously on that. You don't need much. You want it. Don't need much, right? Yeah. And somehow the need is connected with your satisfaction. What is primary? I believe that some of us, and many of us, we have a tremendous amount of strength, but whatever that confines us doesn't allow us to evolve and convert our all wants into needs, meaning convert in the sense that not look at wants, but look at needs. So many of us are not able to, but some of us, we think that, yes, it's a very small need outside physically. Yeah, it's more internally you have to understand. So there's a desire, there's a tremendous curiosity to understand who you are, where you come from. That's the first need, I think, that curiosity. Yeah.
I'm sure that all the experiences during the Padayatra would have, internally helped you become a much better and evolved version of yourself. As a university, Rishihood focuses on nurturing leadership. What are the insights that you have got from your experiences about leadership? How do we become better?
Yeah. So first thing is, you're right that it gives me immense time to meditate. I'm walking alone, so something is happening there, right? So it gives me tremendous amount of time and being alone. Now, one thing I always tell people, even if I dress in this, and there's a reason for this particular thing attire. I used to, by the way, walk in khaki short, white t-shirt, shoes. And this particular thing was given to me by Mahakaleshwar priest that will protect you. And there's a story behind that. So how he did protect me.
Love to hear that story.
It did protect me. And inadvertently, I was a witness to a crime in the forest, alone me. And believe me, this protected me from there. And I'll tell you, you'll be surprised how that happened. But evolving, when people ask me about on the way when they pull their hands and all want my ashirvad and all, I think that I'm blessing them, right? But I don't know enough to be dharma guru. Okay. Secondly, I'm here twice for 15 days each, and I'm putting this on and I'm walking in. That's the one people are actually touching my feet and they're just all around me, but not in the remaining days, right? 335 days, no, right? Only these 30 days. So there is something that they are thinking that I am not probably. So I tell them, I'm not a dharma guru because don't have that much knowledge. It's immense knowledge. I don't have that. Secondly, I'm not a sannyasi either or sant either. What am I? So I'm a devotee for sure. And I'm a tapasvi. Now, once that is established, that you are, then you don't want to become something that you're not. There's no fake thing there. This tapasya part, I understood. And that answers your question, by the way, very differently. We have heard about tapasya every time, right? We know people used to go and do these physical things. And for me, for a long time, I thought that it is just physically kind of trying to see your limit, how much you can tolerate. But my goodness, no, it so much affects you. You feel different, and you become different person. Exactly, that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
The tapasya does that. Yeah, tapasya.
And in our journey as a leader, we have to, everything that we do is ultimately a tapasya. And we have to be prepared for that.
Exactly.
What are your plans after you complete all the 9,000 kilometers? Are you planning to continue exploring and moving on this path of being a spiritual seeker, or you want to go back to the world of tech where you came from, or something else?
Wonderful question, but I will answer that after I tell you about this.
Oh, yes.
First this thing. You know what happened? I was walking through Western MP, and there was the thick forest, a single lane, very small road, a good road, and multiple trailers passing, tractors, trailers, right? And I didn't pay attention. I was merely going. And suddenly I find there's a bridge. I could see the distance. And there were two motorcycles, and there were two men standing like this. In a second, and this is again, God did it, some thought came to me, and I did not do any wrong thing because of that. I right away understood what those trailers were. They were sand.
From the river.
Sand mafia. Okay, these were illegally quarrying that sand from the riverbed. And these people called and said that somebody is coming there. So they were wanting to stop and check with me. So anyway, I passed through that. I did not pull my phone out in panic. And that was I thank God for giving me that confidence. And this tapasya thing also brings that confidence, by the way. I was not afraid, but I knew that this is what it is. And they are very dangerous people. So I walked through that without looking here and there, and they did not stop because they are also very, sand mafia is very, they don't unnecessarily will provoke, but if you really probe into, they can go to extreme. Correct. They can do anything to you. So I talked to my friends, police officers. All right. And I said that, what happened here? Why should I file an FIR? Should I do something? By the way, before that, there was 2 more times when people had mistaken me for a policeman.
Okay. Undercover.
Undercover policeman. And you know why they were having doubt that I may not be? Is this. They probably thought he's a poorly disguised policeman, but at least there was this thing. So this protected me over there also. I think that there must be some doubt in their guys. This guy could be a pilgrim, could be a pilgrim. Yeah. The first thing I did, I changed my garb.
Okay.
I donned that kurta with Mahakal on it, and I webbed this thing, and I orange and this. I said, and that is a protection. So that is a story about that. Coming back to
what after Padayatra?
After Padayatra, yes. So there's lot has opened up after Padayatra. First of all, a lot of my friends, colleagues of my times, they formed an organization, the Walk of Life.
Okay.
Right? It's a non-profit. It's Pune based. I am getting a lot of people coming and joining me. Okay?
Wow.
Because the objectives are, and we didn't talk about the objectives. The first of all, the objective is, of course, the holistic health. It is a physical health. It is because of physical, this thing is also mental health. You are not going crazy.
Yeah.
And then intellectual health, and then eventually spiritual health. Yes. I mean, regardless, you need that is spiritual, even if it is tiny, you need that tiny thing. Okay. So I have a retired army general walking with me.
Okay. In this yatra?
In this yatra.
Of this people
they join and go.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 days they will walk.
Okay.
As much as they can. So I tell them, people, you can do whatever you want. Okay. You don't have to be stuck with me.
Okay.
But walk with me as long as you want me. They come and go. So he's 84 years old, but he walks with me. His wife, 78 years old, she walks. By the way, how old do you think I am?
When I first came to know of you from Sampatji, I thought you must be maybe 40s, early 50s. Then I read the article, and now I got to know that it's 72. So that's what makes everything so crazy about this.
So how I use that 72, that number. I say that the Adi Shankaracharya walked when he was 16. I'm walking by in 72. You guys have no excuse in between. You cannot say that either young age nor old. No young, nothing will work. We have covered now. The but covered. So Walk of Life is doing a lot of work in the holistic side of this health improvement thing. And by the way, I didn't tell you, there are so many army officers are joining. So there was originally in my objectives, there was one objective, which was the last one. I wanted to bring retired senior citizens who have contributed or who have provided leadership to the community in their active life.
Okay.
Right? So your IAS officers, right? High-ranking officers, your military officers, right? Law enforcement people, right? Every walk of life. I wanted them to come in because I want them to. They have done so many things in 30 years. I want them to connect with people again, and be out. So I had success in this. Somehow from Pune, that place, people have started joining. So they join me, coming back and forth. Yeah. So this gives you the clue what will happen. This is a sustainable and long-term.
Want to make this possible for more and more people.
So first basic reason is that today we keep saying that we are a young country. We are a young country, 30-year-old country. Okay, suppose average is 30. I think most of us 30, 33. Yeah. What happens 30 years later? 60, right? So we'll be old country. Because first of all, you are trying to decrease your population, so younger people will be less, right? Okay. So, but you will have this burden of older citizens. You have to take care of them. And the way the healthcare is, I mean, I live in the country which has the worst healthcare system of the world.
Yeah.
Best medical technology and the worst healthcare. Look, amazing combination. In India, we have little bit of better, but we are heading in that. And the elephant is insurance. that elephant kills everything. Once it shakes hand with pharmaceutical, hosed, you're hosed. You're done. They've done that over successfully.
Yes.
You, 60 years later, tight country, we're not America, 1/4 of that size, 4 times the population, and already you're saying that your sign of prosperity or well-being or the index of it is not walking at all. Get out of the house, get in the car, get in somewhere else, sit down there, then come back and do this. And in the name of health, you stroll occasionally.
Yeah. And even urban design is a different issue, but our infra is not designed in a way which inspires people to walk.
They're not designed. Yes, I keep telling them, people, that you don't have space. They don't have space. So my point is that we are asking, the primary thing we are asking is people to found the chapters in their own cities and at least go out of the town walking. All right. If you are religious, go to the temple, okay, which is a little farther. Right. Or if you are a sports person, so go to some place, or if you just want entertainment, go to a picnic place and a decent spot in outside. It'll do a lot of good to you. So health is our primary thing. But secondly is what you are doing. IKS, Indian Knowledge System. So we are trying to, why we formed this nonprofit is because we want to fundraise, and I want to start the study chairs and research. Walk of life. Start chairs in US and India both.
Okay.
So first school from India which came to us, this was ISB.
Okay.
I talked to the dean of ISB. Yes, he was interested in having this. But we are behind in our fundraising efforts and all, because it takes about $5 million to just do the academy, study chair in any Ivy League college over there, right? And 10 million if you're doing research one. So yeah, it's a long
one. In this whole, experience so far, if there was some additional modern convenience that you could have asked for, what would that be? Because we've been living in a very
model or modern convenience.
Modern convenience. If you could have technology with you, while you're doing this, what would make it easier or simpler?
First of all, I don't want to make it easier. I want to go through this thing, yes. But, the convenience, modern convenience, if it was easy to replace my ankle with titanium, that would do that. Because, yes, with my this arch is gone, so with the artificial arch support also, it aches, right? I'm hobbling here also. Yes, that is one. But what it would have been very difficult without that question I can answer better. And that's this phone, the Google signal, in the Google map. Yes.
So you keep looking at the map when you're playing it.
Even in this small villages out here, I am walking through these small lanes. People are they're looking at me. What is this? Nobody has ever walked through that like this.
If people could join you, support you in some way, what could that be?
Yes. So there's a call to action, actually. And the call to action is exactly that whichever district place I walk through, I would like people to be aware of it, at least the civil administration aware of it, or some social organizations be aware of it and join me. There's one organization that generally is, and I'm still organizing a little more better than, but it was very effective in Gujarat. Somehow I have not had that in Rajasthan and Haryana.
Okay.
Yeah. And it will reactivate, I think. It is Rotary. I'm a Rotarian. So I participate very actively in their literacy enhancement. See, we talked about IKS. IKS is in the top here. It's a elite thing. But I'm talking about the literacy. Here is a villager who doesn't understand. You did write anything. So there is a program in 100% literacy they want to get by 2029. There's a Indian Rotary who want to do that. And they came out with a small booklet, which is each one teach one. So get one student to adopt one illiterate person. So in the villages in Gujarat particularly, every time they arranged meetings with me, so Rotary folks, I want me to join me, locally. So that they walk with me as well as they take me to the school and then they use me to raise fund for this program.
Okay.
Meaning call 10 industrialists in the Sonipat here and ask me to come and speak in front of them and ask for money. I would like to fundraise for them so that they can go and fund these, small Rotary clubs.
Yes. Yeah. So Vijay, this has been a very, inspiring conversation and too much to learn, from your experiences. From the time you, studied in India and went to work in Silicon Valley, and now you're seeing, the transition. There's a lot of young, bubbling energy in our nation. What would be your message to the youth of Bharat?
Yes, the first thing is my first objective in this, the health part. And when I say health, it is not just the physical health, that's what we understood immediately, but that is a fundamental thing. But the holistic approach, take care of yourself, your health first. Because whatever you are producing and generating right now, if you do not take care of your mental health, your intellectual health, your physical health, it would not be as much as you can. So there's so much of energy right now. I want this energy sustainable. I don't want you to burn out 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
You know? So while you think that you may be working 14 hours a day and it is a very great thing, in the reverse this discussion, I'm very much against it, I tell you. Yes. But that won't work. I want you to work for 40 years, 60 years, you should be producing, able to produce productive. You should be productive, yes. So take care of your health. That is my first and foremost message with this rider that don't narrowly understand health. Health is intellectual. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank
I am sure that this conversation will inspire many young people to be like you, walk like you, remain fit and resilient and courageous and bold like you. It is such an honor to host you here.
It's my pleasure. My honor, my pleasure. Coach. Wonderful.